The latest on a lawsuit over a new Arkansas law requiring the Ten Commandments to be displayed in public schools. And this weekend, groups around Arkansas are planning to protest against the Trump administration. We'll hear from a local organizer.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News at Noon.
Thank you for joining us for your 5 News at Noon. I'm Morgan Wrigley here with forecaster Joshua Weisel. And yesterday was a dreary, rainy day across a lot of the area. Seems like may kind of be another day like that today.
Yeah, I mentioned this in the morning shows. It feels like Groundhog Day just because it's that same annoying rain. It's basically the same temperatures too. Let's take a look outside with the radar and show you. Yeah, more thunderstorms across the area. The good news is we're not really talking any sort of severe activity, but if you were watching the morning shows earlier, it was that light to drizzly rain, but we're starting to see more areas of lightning and moderate to heavy rainfall, especially as we make our way into Adair and Sequoyah counties this afternoon. Zooming into northwest Arkansas, you can see just a couple of scattered showers here and there, not a whole lot of lightning activity with this. Further to the south we go, though, as we make our way into LaFleur, Sequoyah counties. This is a little bit stronger, and by that I mean moderate to maybe some heavy rainfall and some lightning with it. So just a good old-fashioned summertime thunderstorm. Nothing severe with any of this activity. Just keep an eye on the radar. We'll have more on this and the details of how long this rain lasts, and I'll have a look at your forecast for Omaha in just minutes.
Thanks, Joshua. Well, speaking of Omaha, Arkansas baseball is gearing up for its 12th Men's College World Series appearance. The Hogs will take the field tomorrow to face the LSU Tigers in the opening round. Nick Luttrell is in Omaha with a closer look at the big matchup.
Well, welcome to Omaha, Nebraska, home of the College World Series. You might be able to tell the field behind me isn't quite the big old Charles Schwab Field where the College World Series is held. We're actually 20 miles west of that field at Millard South High School, and usually it's irrelevant where the Razorbacks practice before getting ready for the College World Series. Today, that is not the case. It is the high school field of Razorback Cam Kojal, who is returning to his hometown of Omaha.
It's good to be back in Omaha. Give my dad a hug there on the warning track. I saw him pregame, but it's a great feeling to be back. A lot of kids, some of my siblings were in there, so it's just kind of cool to see all those little faces and smiles. It's cool. It's a dream come true. It's a lot of blessings. It took a lot of people to get here. It wasn't just me. A lot of coaches throughout the years. My dad, obviously, all my siblings. Lots of hours spent with them. It's good to be back in Omaha.
Well, you can definitely tell there it is a special thing for Kojal to be back in his hometown here in Omaha, back practicing at the very field he practiced and played as a high school student. So really special. We're going to have so much more coverage from throughout the day, throughout the weekend here from the College World Series. For now, we'll send things back to you guys.
Thanks, Nick. Before the Hogs step on the field tomorrow, our 5 News sports team is in Omaha to get you ready for all the action. The extra innings special Omaha edition will start at 10:15 tonight right here on 5 News. Well, in other news, 7 Arkansas families are suing 4 public school districts over a new state law that requires the Ten Commandments to be displayed in every public school classroom and library. They claim it violates their rights. The lawsuit targets Act 573, set to take effect in August, which mandates schools post the Ten Commandments in all classrooms and libraries. The ACLU of Arkansas, representing the families, says the law promotes one version of Christianity and violates the Constitution's Establishment Clause. They're seeking an injunction to block the law before the new school year starts.
Act 573 from this year requires the Ten Commandments to be posted in every public school classroom and library. So that is what we are challenging. They're worried about the effect of this religious document being confronted by their children every day they're in the classroom. And they're concerned about that impinging upon the way they instruct their children in religious matters.
5 News reached out to Governor Sanders. Her office said displaying the Ten Commandments is appropriate, calling them the basis of all Western law and morality. Well, residents and local leaders in Fort Smith are raising concerns to federal leaders about another budget proposal that could impact national park sites across the country. The 2026 federal plan calls for defunding hundreds of National Park Service sites, shifting the cost and responsibility to state governments. In Fort Smith, Mayor George McGill sent a letter to Senator John Bozeman and others, urging them to fight the proposed cuts. In it, he says the Fort Smith National Historic Site is vital, not just as a landmark, but to the city's economy, culture, and connection with tribal nations. The director of the Fort Smith Museum of History shared similar concerns.
Can states sustain that? That's a question. I don't know. It might not be possible. And if it's not possible, then we're losing more than a place. We're losing a piece of history, we're losing economic impact, we're losing tourism dollars, and that affects everybody in the city, not just one site.
We reached out to Congressman Steve Womack. In a statement, the congressman said he greatly appreciates the president's input and that the budget is ultimately just a request. He says he values the Fort Smith National Historic Site and is committed to making sure final spending bills reflect the priorities of his district. World leaders are working to ease tensions after Israel launched a massive overnight strike on Iran's nuclear program. About 200 Israeli warplanes hit key sites, killing 3 Iranian generals and top scientists. Israel is now accusing Iran of secretly developing nuclear weapons, claims Iran denies. The White House insists it had no role in the strikes, but Iran blames the U.S. for supporting the operation. Earlier this week, the U.S. urged non-essential staff and their families to leave neighboring Iraq, citing rising security threats as Israel signaled it was preparing for a possible strike.
We have a lot of American people in this area, and I said, we got to tell them to get out because something could happen soon. And I don't want to be the one that didn't give any warning.
Iran is now refusing to attend U.S.-led nuclear talks that were originally scheduled for Sunday. Well, today, the legal battle over President Trump's deployment of the National Guard to Los Angeles is heating up. Overnight, a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to return control of the National Guard to California Governor Gavin Newsom. Then, an appeals court halted that decision, allowing the Guard to stay in place. Hours earlier, Democratic California Senator Alex Padilla was forcibly removed from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's press conference. On X, Noem accused Padilla of creating a scene, adding that she and the senator later met briefly and exchanged numbers. Well, meanwhile, peaceful protests against the Trump administration are scheduled for tomorrow across the nation and right here in Arkansas. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis shows us how the community is preparing.
Civil unrest continues in Los Angeles, California, as federal agents ramp up immigration raids. President Trump says he's ordered hundreds of National Guard troops and Marines to enter the city to enforce peace. Arkansas Governor Sarah Sanders says she supports the decision.
In Arkansas, we would never allow to take place what they're letting go on in California. But if we needed help, the president would be one of the first people I would call.
That situation was escalated by bringing in the National Guard.
Carrie is a community organizer who asked that we not use her last name for safety.
Interfering with local law enforcement and police who are trained to deal with protests. I would expect for there to be more organizing happening across the United States.
And more organization is underway. The nationwide No Kings protest scheduled on Saturday to protest against Trump's military birthday parade and decisions made by the administration includes multiple protests throughout Arkansas. Carrie has been coordinating the protests set for Saturday in Fayetteville.
What we're looking for is for our elected officials to do their job and uphold the Constitution and hold elected officials accountable.
Fort Smith Police Chief Danny Baker says FSPD will be present at the Fort Smith protest to provide support and help keep the peace.
We want to make sure that they have a successful, peaceful opportunity to air their grievances and protest. It's a guaranteed constitutional right. But we're also not we're not going to allow things to get violent or property be destroyed.
Covering news where you live, Kayla Davis, 5 News.